New York, Ms. Slaughter.
The gentlelady from New York is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate the gentleman yielding. I want to talk a moment about the safety of our skies and the frightening gap in training and oversight surrounding the commuter airline business. One of the worst plane accidents in recent history occurred earlier this year on the night of February 12th, just outside of Buffalo, New York. We lost 49 lives that snowy and icy night, and my thoughts are with the families and the victims. Last week, the National Transportation Safety Board conducted hearings, and we were shocked and saddened by the testimony and the revelations. I'm not here to revisit the sad last moments of the crew of the 45 passengers who were lost that day. We still have many questions that must be answered and a lot of work to be done to ensure it never happens again. That is our responsibility and our mission. I want to address the shocking conditions that many of these pilots are facing each and every day because of the lack of rigor in training and certification programs of commercial airline pilots. I hope we can shine a light on the appalling job that the FAA has done in recent years in regulating that industry. That's why I've joined with my friends from New York, Mr. Lee and Mr. Higgins, to introduce an amendment mandating a detailed investigation by the General Accounting Office into this gap in training. We need to look at the number of training hours required for new pilots, how the carriers update and train the pilots, and what kind of remedial action is taken when pilots rate unsatisfactorily, among other things. It is my belief that a thorough top-to-bottom review of this issue is absolutely essential if we are to understand the troubled reality of today's regional airline industry. Most importantly, if we don't get all the facts out and into the open, we are unlikely to be able to take meaningful steps toward reform. My intention is to work with colleagues on this issue and explore legislative remedies that we can take. As I look around the chamber, I'm reminded that many members of Congress also take flights to get home to their districts that are the regional airlines, and I take 2 of them every week. And in the gallery, I'm sure there are visitors who've flown to Washington from their hometowns. Every day, people from coast to coast in small cities and major hubs catch a plane for work, to see a loved one, or simply to get away. All deserve the confidence that the pilots in the front of the plane are trained and ready for work when that aircraft pushes back from the tarmac. It's my understanding that the salary of one of the pilots on that plane was $16,000 a year. I can only imagine how little the attendants were paid. These young pilots earn far less than pilots at major carriers and struggle to make ends meet. My guess is it would surprise many of the passengers on a typical commuter flight to know the captain was paid less than a bus driver. Worse still, we learned during the hearing that many of the pilots fly when they are sick and when they have not been able to have food. Imagine that. A pilot responsible for a plane full of men, women, and children who's sick but can't take the day off, hungry and can't stop and get lunch. We've discovered the training is stunningly inadequate. For example, all right, I ask unanimous consent to put the rest of my statement in the record.
Without objection.
Each side.
The gentleman from Minnesota has 10 3/4, and the gentleman from